What to do with what if thinking. Sometimes those who struggle with anxiety have an automatic thought life that is dominated by what ifs. What if my car breaks down on the highway? What if I lose my job? What if I make a fool of myself at the party? And the list goes on and on. As a matter of fact, mathematically speaking, there are probably infinite what if possibilities. This black hole of trying to predict the future can, for obvious reasons, be problematic and perpetuate anxiety. In my overthinking video, I mentioned that our brains are meaning making machines. They are also wired to first and foremost protect us. What if thinking falls in line with our brain's natural tendencies to do these things? But we do not need to be held prisoner by our thoughts. Today, I will teach you how to reframe these thoughts, also known as cognitive restructuring. You will learn to use Socratic questioning as well as how to decatastrophize. First, let's start by reframing these thoughts and redirecting your brain. Here are three ways in which you can do that. Number one, instead of saying what if, say if then. For example, your brain thinks, what if I get a bad review at work? The reframe, if I get a bad review at work, then I will use the constructive feedback to improve my performance. Number two, instead of saying what if, say even if. For example, your brain thinks, what if I get a bad review at work? The reframe, even if I get a bad review at work, I know I've worked hard and I have a good reputation at work. I know that I can improve in certain areas and that this review will not really matter too much anyway. And number three, instead of saying, what if I get a bad review at work, leaning toward the negative, lean toward the positive and say, what if I get a good review at work? Another tool for your mental health toolbox is Socratic questioning. When using Socratic questioning, we are putting our thoughts on trial, so to speak. Socratic questioning looks like this. When a what if pops into your head, write down the answers to the following questions. What is the evidence for this thought? And what is the evidence against it? Am I basing this thought on facts or am I basing it on feelings? Am I looking at all the evidence or just what supports my thought? This is the unhealthy thinking style we call mental filter. Is my thought a likely scenario or is it the worst case scenario? Hopefully, through this line of questioning, your thoughts will become more realistic and easier to handle. One final way to handle what if thinking is decatastrophizing. Those with anxiety typically have the unhealthy thinking style of what we call catastrophizing. This is when our brains jump right to the worst case scenario. Here's what to do. It's important that you write the answers down on paper. Number one, turn your what if into a clear prediction. For example, what if my medical test comes back with negative results? You would write, my medical test results will be bad. Number two, how likely is this event to happen? Number three, how awful would it be? Number four, if the worst does happen, how will I cope? Make a plan. Number five, what would you tell a friend to reassure them? Something to note, we're not trying to convince our brains to ignore reality in any of these coping strategies. We could get a bad review at work, or worse, get into an accident on the way home. However, when we are catastrophizing, there is no gray area. This is another unhelpful thinking style we call black and white thinking. So, Socratic questioning and decatastrophizing can help us see our problems with a wider, more realistic lens, or what we call a bird's eye view. Thank you for watching. Please look for my next video about unhelpful thinking styles, where I will elaborate on the thinking styles mentioned today as well as others. Please like and subscribe below. Take care.